Last Monday morning, residents in Chatham gathered outside their Walgreens, not to shop, to protest, because on June 4th, that store closes permanently. It's the only Walgreens in the neighborhood. The nearest one is 1.3 miles away. And for Terrell Gardner, a 69-year-old man who takes 14 pills a day after 2 kidney transplants, that distance isn't an inconvenience. It's the difference between managing his health and not. Patricia Schell uses an electric wheelchair. She doesn't drive. She picks up her prescriptions once a month. After June 4th, she has no plan. What's happening in Chatham is happening across America right now, quietly, without warning, until the sign goes up and the door locks. Here's what that actually means for your neighborhood. 3 years ago, there were roughly 2,000 more pharmacy locations in this country than there are today. Here's how that happened. Rite Aid collapsed entirely, all 1,250 locations gone after its second bankruptcy. Walgreens closed 500 stores through 2025 and is still closing. CVS shut 270 stores last year, on top of 900 closures between 2022 and 2024. And it's not just pharmacies. Kroger announced plans to close 60 underperforming stores, with confirmed closures in Texas, Kentucky, and other states. Macy's, Wendy's, dollar stores that moved into rural communities specifically to serve people with limited options, now pulling back from the exact neighborhoods they promised to serve. Over 2,000 planned retail closures in 2026. And the number keeps climbing. Deutsche Bank analyst George Hill told Fox Business directly, "We have been watching this car crash in slow motion for years." But the corporate announcements never say what actually disappears when a store closes. When a store closes, it doesn't just take the building. It takes something a lot harder to replace. USC researcher Dima Mazen-Kato has studied this directly. Americans living in pharmacy deserts are more likely to have worse cardiovascular health and less likely to take the medications they need. When pharmacies leave, those communities suffer. That Walgreens closing in Chatham is also where your neighbor got her flu shot, where the elderly man 3 streets over picked up blood pressure medication without needing a ride, where a family without a car could reach a pharmacist at 10 p.m. Grocery closures carry the same weight. When a Kroger leaves, the next full-service store is often 15 to 20 miles away. For a family without a car, that distance changes what they eat, how often they eat it, and at what cost. The store closing isn't the crisis. It's the beginning of a longer, quieter one. And the people most exposed to what comes next are not the ones reading the headlines. They're the ones who never saw the closure coming. So here's the one practical thing to do before your next prescription runs out. Check your store. For Walgreens, search Walgreens store closures 2026 list. The street maintains an updated tracker. For Kroger, search Kroger store closings 2026 by state. No full public list exists, but local news has been confirming locations. For CVS, their store locator flags planned closures 90 days out. Search your zip code and check listed hours. Stores marked for closure often quietly reduce hours first. The people who find out early have time to transfer prescriptions, identify backup options, and adjust before anything changes. The people who find out when the sign goes up have none. One more thing, and this is genuinely useful, not a pitch. I put together a reference document that tracks verified store closures by state, pharmacies, grocery stores, and dollar stores, updated when new closures are confirmed. It also includes a simple checklist, prescription transfer steps, nearest alternatives by store type, and the 211 number that connects you to local resources if a closure leaves you without access. Free. Link in the description. One short email when major closures hit a new state. The checklist alone is worth having before you need it. But the checklist only covers what's already announced. What most people don't realize is why this keeps accelerating instead of slowing down. Walgreens CEO Tim Wentworth said it plainly. The current pharmacy model is not sustainable. The math that stopped working is the same math your neighborhood has been living inside. Prescription reimbursement rates have been declining for years. Theft, rising operational costs, and Amazon pharmacy delivery are all hitting simultaneously. Walgreens CFO Manmohan Mahajan explained the decision formula directly. It comes down to cash flow. Is it positive to stay open or positive to close? The community's need isn't in that equation. And here's what makes this worse than it looks. When Walgreens closes, and Rite Aid is already gone, and CVS has already pulled back, the independent pharmacies that used to serve those neighborhoods are also largely gone. Because Walgreens and CVS spent 2 decades offering the same services at lower prices until the independents couldn't survive. One Chicago resident put it plainly at Monday's protest. Years ago, we had pharmacies all up and down this street. Walgreens came and swept them out. Now Walgreens is leaving, and we have nothing. That's what the closures actually mean. Not just the store leaving. The alternative that existed before the chain arrived is gone too. The Chatham Walgreens closes June 4th. The residents who stood outside it last Monday aren't just angry about one store. They're angry because they can see what comes next. A neighborhood without a pharmacy. Prescriptions that require a car trip. Health conditions that quietly go unmanaged because the access point is gone. They saw the sign before most people thought to look for one. That's the only gap between being ready and being caught. Check your store this week. Link in the description. And if you've been watching this wondering what's happening to your grocery bill on top of all of this, we covered exactly what's coming to food prices through the rest of 2026 in the video on your screen. Store closures and rising prices are two sides of the same pressure. That video covers the other side. Drop your city and state in the comments, because someone watching right now just realized the store they've relied on for 20 years might already be on a list they've never seen.